Hey guys, Marshmallow Trump here, back with another Clash mini video, and today I've been requested to make a Archer Queen video. So I'm going to be covering an Archer Queen deck and my reasoning and ways of deck building for the Archer Queen. This was requested by Sander Valhorsen. Hopefully I didn't pronounce that incorrectly. And this was on a live stream the other day. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. I hope you're watching this because I made this based on your comments. And yeah, really appreciate you asking me to make this. And I hope this is good for you and anyone else who needs an Archer Queen deck out there. With that being said, if you want a deck being made on any game that I cover, or just anything covering on any game that I cover pretty much, so that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Boom Beach Frontlines, Clash Mini, anything else that you've seen me upload, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to try and cover it in a video for you, because that's what I'm here for. I like making videos for you guys, and if you guys have something in particular you want me to cover, I'm pretty much always more than happy to do that. So here we go. Now, before I do continue, I will quickly say there's something wrong with Clash Mini at the moment, and I've been going against a lot of ridiculously high-level players. My Archer Queen here is level 3. Yeah, I did beat them, but here, Nova Tilt. Hopefully I can add the screenshot into the video as proof, but I beat Nova Tilt. But I shouldn't even be going against Nova Tilt because they have 16,000 trophies, and I have not even 900. I also went against 2 other level 10s. I think it was Crafty Bear and another one. I also beat them. So, as much of a problem as it is, and the fact that it's just really irritating it being almost every match, it does prove that this deck is pretty solid at the very least. So, let's get into it. I'll cover the deck whilst I play so you get something nice to watch. This is the deck that I'm going to be covering, but again, I'll be covering more generalized deck building in this video. Just because everyone has their own cards that they like and they don't like. So you might find things to be better than what I use. I didn't mean to re-roll, but okay. So basically how this deck works is this deck is, I call it Protect the Queen. Everything in this deck pretty much is solely about protecting the Archer Queen so she can hit as many targets as possible and get maximum damage on the board. As you can see here, this is probably going to be a 1-0 to them. Yeah, unfortunately so. But I did pretty well to say that I got hit by a Spear Goblin and then pretty much a strong Miner. This deck, again, it focuses on protecting the Archer Queen, and that is done through using 3 different tank units. On top of that, we're using Ice Wizard to slow down the opponents too, to help protect the tanks who are protecting the Queen. Right, so what I'm going to do this time around is do this, and because we're facing off against an Archer Queen, I will place a Archer. So, in this meta, tanks are not very good. I will definitely agree with you there. Tanks have a very weird place right now, especially with Prince and Spear Goblin both being heavily played. They get taken out very fast and have their health put down to below half almost instantly. So they don't have a great place because with the fact that they almost die instantly and have very low damage output, you might as well just bring in another glass cannon unit and hope that they don't get hit by something like a Spear Goblin. So what I do to avoid this is have 3 tanks, maximizing on the ability of having an actual usable tank who can soak up all the damage. Not only this, but I picked these 3 in particular. The Guard is probably the best at being an actual tank, as he has, if you get 2 upgrades on him, making him cost 6 in total, he has a massive shield that can come back over and over again. And he can start the match with it too. Oh, I've just lost, though. This wasn't a great example. I've been winning pretty much everything with it, though. But yeah, he gets this massive shield, and if you upgrade him again, he becomes even more aggressive. He's very cheap. You can play him early game, you can play him in both Rumble and Duel, and he's very effective. This deck's quite pricey, so I would only recommend running it in Rumble. We then use the P.E.K.K.A. The P.E.K.K.A. is very what's the word? He can be used in many situations. So he's very generic. He's quite splashable. You can put him in many decks. That's why That's why I use the P.E.K.K.A. If you're struggling to beat an opponent and they've got a lot of firepower on the board, maybe they're running Barbarian King with lots of rage boosts and whatnot, you're going to want a more defensive card. So go for the upgrade that gives P.E.K.K.A. a shield on spawn. However, if you're going against another Archer Queen maybe and you want to get through all the squishy units as fast as possible, increase that chance of getting double damage or triple damage even. Because then you can just mow through the units and, the saying goes, basically, attacking is good at defending as well. I'm actually going to put in the square here to get that jump attack. Because finally, our third tank is the Mega Knight. Another 4 cost. I know he's not great, but he does actually have the most health in the game. That's right, more than P.E.K.K.A. And this makes him a very solid mini at being protecting. But at the same time, he has the ability to stun, which, if placements are good, is very good against Countess. Can pretty much screw over a Countess deck. And with one upgrade, you can increase how long that stun goes for. Or, if they're spreading their units out quite far, you can increase the radius in which he stuns. So that's the reasoning behind the 3 tanks. Now, where is all the damage? Because it's okay protecting units and whatnot, but where's the actual damage coming in here? Well, the actual damage is coming from your Archer Queen and your Archer. The Archer, when upgraded once, can hit 2 targets that are furthest away from her. This is good at taking out the back row supporter units, such as enemy archers, spear goblins, ice wizards, magic archers, and musketeers. The Archer Queen is also great because when she has her meter put to full, she can hit 3 targets at a time pretty fast for a limited time. We also run Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard isn't run that often, I will say that, and it is because his damage output's very low. But if you are going against other tanks, or say your P.E.K.K.A.'s having to fight another P.E.K.K.A., that slow will be the difference between who wins, despite the actual low damage itself. So, literally, the best way to play this deck is to simply protect your units. Protect your princess, protect your Archer Queen. Not princess, sorry. Protect your Archer Queen. And you are more than good to go. You've got a solid back row of just pure firepower that can hit many targets at a time and should hopefully stay protected throughout the match. Here we go. There we go. So it can get pretty close with this deck, but oftentimes you're left with just your Archer Queen, and she's more than capable of sweeping up the rest of the board. So if you're wanting to go for a Protect Archer Queen or Protect the Queen deck, you want to maximize on tanks. Now make sure your costs are sort of even, because think of it this way. You get 6 elixir every turn. So if you have 2s and 4s, both even costs, then you're pretty much fine because the costs are even, obviously, so you're not going to be left over with random bits of elixir. However, if you start running 3s, then you may end up with the odd 1 elixir that you're not spending, that your opponent is, and it doesn't matter that you get it next round because you might lose and get knocked out of a tournament that round. Now, unfortunately, a big threat to this deck is the Miner, as you can see, just killed the whole deck pretty much. There we go. So I am going to get knocked out here, but that's okay. So the best way to build this deck is, like I said, maximizing on tanks and making sure that the costs are in line so that you don't end up with spare elixir. So whether that be what I do, where I've gone for 4 and 2 costs and gone for more 2 costs than 4 costs, or you could consider going for something like, instead of Mega Knight and P.E.K.K.A, go for Skeleton Giant and Valkyrie. So let's do a quick change here. We could go Skeleton Giant, Valkyrie. That's not Valkyrie. So there we go. We've got Skeleton Giant, Valkyrie, and could even run Dark Goblin in here. So let's say instead of Ice Wizard, we run Dark Goblin. Let's try that. So basically, you just want to maximize on having 3 tanks, having more tanks than you do actual damaging units, and that's how you make a Protect the Queen deck. Another deck that you can make with Archer Queen is pure long range. Now this deck's a bit weird, I will say. However, it's good, because what the deck does is you just have that many long range units all at the back of the field that no matter how many spear goblins, princes, or whatever else they have, they're not going to be able to kill all your units. And there's so much firepower in these long range units that you just end up pretty much killing the enemy units before they get to you. It's just a firing line strategy. Also, if you have things like Ice Wizard, Magic Archer, you're going to be hitting multiple targets, slowing them down, and it's a bit of an old strategy. It's not too great anymore, but having almost all ranged units is a viable strategy. I mean, I can't really explain how to build that deck because it's just how you build that deck, if that makes sense. It's not really a strategy so much, but more the way you build it is the strategy. So just pure long range units. What I would recommend is going for ones that hit multiples. So Magic Archer, who's going to kill my queen, unfortunately. Archer, Wizard, Ice Wizard, even Electro Wizard. And a final deck is actually pretty weird. It's running almost like a Barbarian King deck where you have the Lumberjack, you have the Barbarian, you just have your really strong melee hitters, and have Archer Queen not so much as the main card in your deck, but just a random pretty much. It's just a card in there that acts more of a unit, and your main hero is something like the Barbarian. So there we go, we're going to go for triple tanks up top, triple long range at the bottom. Unfortunately, the guards have been pushed away. However, this bomb should do some decent damage to the P.E.K.K.A. And now we've got all our long ranges still in here. And there we go. We got the win. Again, Archer Queen, last one there, sweeping up just how the Protect the Queen deck is supposed to be played. So, if you want my recommendation on how to play Archer Queen, I'm not very good at showcasing it, because 1, I don't play Archer Queen, but 2, my Archer Queen's pretty low level, so it gets beaten purely for being low level sometimes, rather than just failing, which is a bit of a bummer. Okay. So here we go. Unfortunately, I have 1 leftover elixir, which is why you want to try and have matching costs. Matching costs is evens or odds. You don't really want to be mixing it fully. Here we go. Valkyrie, though, is doing a lot of damage on their 3 frontline units. This bomb did a decent amount, but not enough. And there we go. We get knocked out. But anyway, I'm going to keep it, say short, it's about 15 minutes. But here we are, this is the end. Sorry I couldn't showcase the deck too well, but again, I literally beat 7th in the world who was running level 10, yeah, he's still 7th in the world, level 10 Barbarian King deck, so it's nothing to be laughed at. I think it's more of just Archer Queen's a weird one. It has really good matchups and really bad matchups. and it can win the really good ones and it will lose the really bad ones. There's no, because it's so varied, it's kind of hard for it to win its bad matchups and it's kind of hard for it to lose its good matchups. So rather than having much of a chance, it's pretty much 50-50 from the get-go. Whatever you're going against, you're either going to win, you're going to lose. There's no maybe about Archer Queen. So that's why you may feel that you're losing a lot. But in the long run, you're probably going to be winning more than you're losing. And yeah, you can beat pretty high up players. So go for it. And I hope this helped.